Cold start. Okay, so this will be my first attempt at maybe making some content. Depending on how this goes, we'll see if I continue in the future. My plan of attack for today is I need to get some space in here to work on things I actually want to work on. The idea here is this 1250 needs to be put back together. I've kind of cannibalized it for some good parts that I needed for my 1650 twin stick project, as well as some others. So I've still got a couple things to take off of this yet, and then I can put this thing back together.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you showed me up, you put some of the stuffing in the wrong places, so I'm a little f***ed up.
And make sure that it is good to go to list for sale. Gonna kind of be a hard sell since it's set up for mowing at the moment, and we're slowly pushing out of mowing season, but we'll see how that goes. And then this absolute pile of garbage that used to be a 149. It also had some foliage growing through it. Yeah. There was a tree that had completely grown around the hydraulic cylinder on this poor tractor. It had been sitting in a fence row for quite a long time. There's not a whole lot of good stuff left on it. Somebody has completely dropped something on the tins. Pretty trashed, very rusty. But I bought this for $40 for two things. The steering wheel center, which is all there, it's complete. It's actually the original IH embossed aluminum, which is kind of hard to find these in one piece, as well as not broken right here, because they usually folded up and then broke. So this being here was a big plus. That's worth a little bit of money. And then down here as well, there is a float lockout pin. This guy right here. It's worth a few bucks. I mean, it's got a good light switch, and the throttle and the choke worked. So yeah, I'm just going to rob some stuff off of this one. And the majority of it's going to go to the scrap yard to be turned into refrigerators or whatever else. So
one man's garbage, another person's good on garbage. And I'm going to roll with that.
It won't die in vain. It'll save a few more with the parts that it'll sacrifice. So not a total loss, but the big reason I want to get this one parted out completely and this one taken apart is because I have plans to build a plow tractor, and not a snow plow tractor, but a moldboard plowing tractor, and this is the candidate. I bought this off a friend of mine in Illinois. It is a factory 1000, so 10 horse gear drive, and it was originally 241 AQS gear drive, so it's a 3 forward 1 reverse, speeds, no creeper, nothing special. These tractors alone are really nothing special. They're very stout, very simple. I could not pass up the deal I got on this one because, as you can see by my wonderful sharpieing skills, this is a 1600, which means someone has dropped a K341 AQS, a 16 horse in this, out of a 1650, and it has a pretty stout clutch in it that's newer, and it is ugly. Make no mistake, this thing is butt ugly. It is 50 shades of white and yellow, and someone's painted the fenders black and cut on them. Rear tires are pretty well shot. I just traded a set of tri-ribs for these rib tires that are painted Wimbledon white, which is not correct, but good enough for this ugly thing. I bought a front weight bracket for suitcase weights off my buddy Chad, and I've got some plans for this thing. I've got some really wicked LED headlights for this thing, a couple of rear work lights, some super bright tail lights, 3 gang switch panel rocker switches. This thing's not going to look stock, but mechanically it's going to be extremely sound, which is the point. I don't care if it's ugly. I have pretty tractors that I use and keep nice and show. This one is strictly going to be for plowing dirt. If it's ugly, it's ugly. I also bought a set of solid motor mounts because this one has the typical quiet line rattle. The rubber isolator mounts for the engine are pretty well gone. It will shake you to death. When one thing goes, the rest of them go. The engine mounts go first, then the clutch starts to go. Then the hydros are a lot worse because you've got your engine mounts, your rag joints at both ends. So when one lets go, then the next one lets go, then the next one lets go, and then you end up with a drive shaft that flops around and beats everything to death inside the trans tunnel. So we're going to avoid that on this one. We're going to solid mount that. You know, I might end up doing a stack on this with a muffler, just kind of make it neat. I've got some neat ideas for rear tires on it. I want to do some duals. but a little different style than normal. This is the next thing I sort of want to work on, but in order to get to the things I want to work on, I have to get a couple more projects out of the way. So first order of business is going to be taking an impact to this thing and just ripping it apart. Okay, so I made some good progress on that 149, parting it out. One of the things I decided to save, just because it's a common thing to go bad on these tractors, was the ignition switch. Now this is the 3-prong style, and these are made by a company called NDAC, which made switches and knobs and all kinds of stuff. Really common on Cubs. This is actually a really common ignition switch in general, but I'm going to show you real quick how to bench test one of these to see if it's even worth keeping, because this tractor, obviously I got it not running, no engine, nothing, so I have no clue if this is good or not, and if it's not good, then I'm not going to keep it because it doesn't belong in my drawer. So all you need is a multimeter. I have a Fluke 323, which is an awesome entry-level multimeter, and what you're going to want to do is set it to ohms for resistance, check continuity. And what we're going to do is take a key. In this case, this is the one out of my 100, but these are all keyed alike. Put the key in. So these have, because this is a 3-terminal, these have 3 positions. They have an off, as you see here. Ooh, this is pretty rocky. This is off, run, and then start. They do have a crank position. On the older tractors, they have a 2-prong. That is solely, it's an on-off switch. It interrupts the power between your ignition switch and your ignition coil. It supplies 12 volts to the positive side of the coil. So the way we're going to test this is right now it's in the off position. So if I check continuity in between, and you can see these terminals are marked. You got one up here that says ignition, start, and battery. So this is your constant hot. So if I go to check between this terminal and either of these while the key is in the off position, I should have no continuity. If I have continuity, then there's a dead short inside the switch and it's bad. So we're going to go ahead and start with that. So it doesn't matter which lead you use. These are pretty crusty, so it might be kind of a bad connection. Checking these, I'm getting nothing on my meter. That's the start side. Shouldn't have anything on ignition either. We'll scratch it, get a better connection. Got nothing. All right, now I'm going to turn the key switch one position to run. So I should have continuity if I touch this ignition side, and the multimeter will beep if it's good. Now, like I said, these connections are pretty rough, so we're going to see if it will read or not, or this key switch may be bad. Okay, so I'm not getting anything on the run side, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put my probe in the ignition side, and I'm going to see if, when I turn it to start, if I get a beep. And I have nothing. So one of two things is happening. Either the switch is completely shot inside, which is very possible because this feels very rough inside, or this terminal is so corroded that I cannot get a connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk over to the bench grinder. I'm going to clean up this connection real quick with a wire wheel, and then I'm going to test it again, and if it's bad, then it's going in the trash. I'm going to save probably the nuts off the front and then the spacer for the front of the steering column. Okay, I took this over to the bench grinder and I ran the leads underneath the wire wheel to see if maybe that could be the issue, and sometimes it is. So we're going to try this again, put our key in. Still pretty rocky. Feeling inside, but nothing should have changed. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put one lead on battery, which is your constant 12 volt source. It's a little tricky. Sometimes I have to use alligator clips on these. So we got one in battery, and we're going to go to the ignition side. And I should get a beep when I turn it to the run position. Do this again, and I'm not getting anything, so I'm thinking this switch is dead in the water. We're going to try it one more time on the start side just to see, and nothing at all. So I'm going to deem this switch dead because it should have done something with those terminals being cleaned up, and like I said, this thing's pretty rocky. Like when I turn it, it should be a little smoother. So I'm thinking this ignition switch is bad. Pretty typical. But just for demonstration purposes, here is another 3-prong switch. This is a little later style. This is also an NDAC one. This is the little later style that uses the universal mower key, which is pretty common across all brands. But just for demonstration purposes, I'll show you how it works on this one. So we'll put one terminal on battery, and we should have, again, keys in the off position. We should have no continuity between these. Nothing. Okay. Turn it to run, first position. Now on the start side should have nothing, ignition side I should get a beep, I should get continuity. I have continuity. Okay, now this one's a little trickier because you gotta use your 2 fingers, but probe's in there. I'm gonna go to the start side and I'm gonna go to start position on the key. It's a little inconsistent because of the way I'm holding it, but on right there. It's a little tough because of the way the leads are set up, but this is a good ignition switch. This one is not. Okay, so I made some decent progress on this 149 as far as taking it apart. I think I'm to the point where I am done taking things off of it. I mean, pretty much everything that's left is not worth keeping, or it is in such bad shape that I don't even want to bother fighting it because I have so much of this stuff. Steering wheel is okay. Getting these off is kind of a bear. If you have an air hammer, it's not very hard. I don't know how many of these laying around, but I don't really care to remove this one. The hydro handle, these are notoriously like impossible to get off, and this one's wiggling, so I'm guessing the splines are probably shot. Hydro handle's junk for the lift. PTO's completely stuck. Dash tower's seen better days. Tins are completely garbage. About the only thing that I probably will save, which seems kind of trivial, is this battery hold down. Most of the time these are missing. That one's pretty rough. And I'll take the battery out, and the reason for that is core charge on new batteries. But this one's missing all the taillight lenses. The bases are busted on them. They're junk. And it's also missing the drawbar. Before I got it, it had a rear lift and a tiller gearbox, as you can see by this line here. It had a tiller gearbox on it, but my friend that I got this from took those off and sold it, which is totally fine. All the good parts are pretty much off this thing. I kept the lift cylinder and the mount. It is currently leaking all over the floor, which is typical. And that also does not look like Hy-Tran. That looks like an ATF, honestly. So I'm gonna have to do a smell test on that to see if that's what it is. Got the hard lines, got the spool valve and the cylinder. That's not worth much, but it's worth keeping because those are kind of nice to have. Starter generator's locked up completely. Cloth wiring harness is doing typical cloth wiring harness things, and it's completely rotten. And not gonna bother. Front rims are junk, tires are junk, so I'm gonna take that battery, hold down and that battery out, and then the rest of this is just going to scrap as is because it's pretty much not even worth my time. So in order to get this thing out, I am gonna have to start that big boy right there. You know, I'd like to think that there is a special place in hell for people that not only use but invent flathead hardware. So here's how we solve this. We just take our bolt cutters here, handy dandy, because these battery cables are junk, and we just there, and one more, and snipped. All right, now our battery can come out. It's got a handle. Cold start. So the idea here is to take this heap of garbage and load it into the back of that heap of garbage. I'm going to do this by hand, which we're going to see how this goes. And these things are usually pretty light in the front, especially when they don't have an engine in them. So I should be able to get the front started and then get the back sort of wheeled up to it. I might have to back the truck up just a little bit more. And I'm just going to heave-ho this thing in there and hope that I don't either A, break my back, or B, kill myself, both of which are very real possibilities. So we're just going to see how this goes. Well, here goes nothing. Whew. Damn, this thing's heavy. Stay. Okay, new plan of attack. Now it should be a little lighter. There we go. First try. Okay, and with that done, now I can load up some more scrap in here. Well, since I've been working on the Cubs, just for fun, it's been about a month since I've started this, I want to say. So I'm just going to see if this thing will fire up. I already got the choke on, gave it a few pumps. Let's see. Alright, I pumped it a few more times. This thing's pretty cold, so we'll see. It's probably going to be pretty rowdy when it starts. Oh, yeah, she's cranky. Okay, I let it warm up for a sec. Put the choke on, so now I got it off. So it should start right up and idle. Pretty calm now. Smoothing out. $7,500 original miles on this girl. She is cherry. Well, now that I've successfully smoked out the shop, I'm going to go ahead and call it quits here. Another day I'll get back to this 1250. I'm in no big hurry to get rid of this. I made some room in here, so that's really all I was concerned with. I got a lot of stuff to clean up and put away and organize. So that being said, I know this was kind of a messy video, no real direction. I know parting out a tractor is not the most exhilarating thing to watch in the world. And the shop's a little bit of a wreck right now, so the more I can get cleaned up and parted out, the more I can just get room back to working here. So if anyone is interested in seeing maybe a tour of the machines or hearing the backstories or whatever, let me know. There's nothing too crazy in here. I've got some neat tractors. I've got a couple low production models. Most of my stuff I just shoot for nice original paint. I've got some stuff with some neat options. I do have an original back there that's a 3-digit serial number. Pretty neat. Nothing too crazy. I really like the machines I've got, and I've worked pretty hard to get to where I am with them. So I'm going to call it quits for the day, but I appreciate anyone who took the time to watch this. Let me know what you guys would like to see in the future, if anything at all. Maybe this isn't my thing. I don't really know. I'm just giving it a shot because I've had a few people tell me I should. So I got this new DJI camera, and I'm just gonna have fun with it. That's all that matters. I'm not looking to make this my full-time gig or anything. Obviously, I just want to have some fun, record some cool tractor stuff. I feel like there's kind of a gap on YouTube as far as Cub Cadet content, so I just wanted to get on here and maybe try out making some videos of my own. So again, thanks everyone for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, do whatever, and have a good day.